Hi everybody, Kelvin here from London. Stereo Review X is my channel. I review mostly vintage speakers and amplifiers. Today we're doing something a bit younger. Couple of power amps, yes. A quad. This is a quad. I'll bring the camera in a sec, but this is a quad 520 power amp. And we compare and contrast with this NAIM Nap 100 power amp. This is presently available, this NAIM, for about 700 quid, and this quad, which is from between 1984 and 1995, you can find them, you should pay around £300 for one of these, which is a pretty big bargain, I would say. But I'll do a bit of details, better specifications, and I'll bring the camera in, and I'll also do some of this other equipment just for fun to show you. Okay, we've got quad 520F power amp, 100 watts, 8 ohms, 150 watts, 4 ohms. That's a powerful thing, yeah? That's a hell of a beast. Now you're probably not familiar with this, certainly visually. This amp has a lot internally in relation to the quad 606 and the 909. So I'm pretty sure you're going to have a lot of sound similarities between those two. Yeah, okay. So that's that, 8 ohms, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they call this a current dumper. I don't really know, there's some way the amplification feeds back. I mean, I don't really know what that means, but you know, I care what it sounds like myself. So that's that. NAIM Nap 100, 50 watts a channel. I think came out 2012. Yeah, I mean NAIM are a very well respected company. You know, you can spend a fortune, power amps, preamps, power supplies, £700 new. If you want a second hand one, you probably get one for about £400. Yeah, 50 watts a channel. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try initially to do a general sound comparison for you, and then I'll do what I usually do, which is go through a bunch of songs in detail, same song for each amp, and by that time you'll probably understand what these amps sound like. I think you will, but let me just bring the camera in and I'll show you these. And I should speak also about this Linn Wakonda, which is the preamp I've been using, and that down there, which I'll show you. Give me 1 second. Okay. And I'm listening to these on these gorgeous rosewood vintage Bowers & Wilkins DM4s, which I also recently reviewed. They are pretty damn class. Okay, let's have a look here. So we got quad 520F, and those are two input sensitivities, which, as you can see, are screwed on. Someone's set those, and I won't mess around with that. This belongs to my friend John. Then here we have Linn Wakonda preamp. This has a remote and these, you know, up and down digital controls. There's some interesting relationship between the Linn and the NAIM. The Linn actually works better with the quad because these two have sort of similar qualities, which kind of, when you double up on them, I'm not sure it works out. Anyway, there is the NAIM, which is like, you know, like it's pretty damn good looking and incredible in the way that it, you know, is button free. Buttons are obviously at the back, you know, the power is. Anyway, I'll show you the other stuff I happen to have here. That is Sansui 317 integrated amp, which you can split power and preamp. That is Arcam Alpha CD player. I mean, I've got about 4 CD players, and I found that is the best one. Here, is this on? Yeah, this is on. Here we have Sansui 441. I kind of really love these Sansuis. they're not the end of the world in detail, but there's something just great about the sound. I'm going to turn that off in case it's strobing. And over here, a couple of absolute classics of the vintage world. So that is a Marantz 238BL. Yeah, you can see the tone controls have separate for left and right. Yeah, and this is Sugden A48 amplifier, integrated amplifier, which is absolutely great sounding. Okay, let's put this back. There's a quick look at a fairly ordinary Sansui turntable, to be honest with you, which is covered in dust. 222 Mark II. Okay, one sec. Okay, so let's get back to these amplifiers. So, here we go. Okay, so I'll try to do this sound anyway, in a big way, and then I'll do details. These two amps are very different beasts, yeah? They kind of have different appeals, and what would I say? Well, I'll just use some words, yeah, to just a stream of consciousness. This name: polite, refined, restrained, possibly, detailed, yes. This quad: big, robust, still detailed, grip. This quad has a lot of grip. It's probably the best I can do right now, but I'll go through some songs, and by the end of that you should definitely know what these amps sound like. Let me just mention about this Linn Wakonda name thing, because the Linn has sort of similar qualities to the name. It being polite, refined, not huge on dynamics. So, you know, the Linn probably and the quad probably work better together, yeah? The name and the Linn are sort of doing the same thing as each other. So I would, you know, I'd really like to have this name with, I don't know, a more lively preamp, you know, something like that. Anyway, let's do the songs. Okay, Name. First song I did, Clever Trevor. That's Ian Dewar in the Blockheads. Check it out if you like. It's got a really great organ, a keyboard thing on the left. It's sort of like it's in a lift or something. The sound it makes. So Clever Trevor, I've got here. Nice snare drum, accuracy, sharp. Not very dynamic, or I should say comparatively dynamic, you know, explosive, yeah, it's not explosive, and a good keyboard on the left. That's all I put down here actually for that one. So, second song, Too High, Stevie Wonder. I can't not do this song because it's such a brilliant song for testing your hi-fi. So, first, great, at the beginning there's some girl vocals at the beginning, and it was just super duper on here, and actually sort of got a separation of those individual voices, yeah, because it's, you know, getting that fine, this is kind of fine, you know what I mean, it's giving me the fine detail of those voices. Just to mention whilst we're here, you know, this Sansui was like a £100 amp or an £80 receiver. It's a radio amp. That will never do that thing of separating those girls' voices. That kind of super fine detail. Even though I love those amps and they make a really nice sound, but that sort of finely pixelated, whatever word you want to use, doesn't happen on there. Anyway, back to this thing. So those girls' vocals in there were really nice and like a detail which I'm not used to getting, you know. And the ride cymbal on the right, detailed, yeah, you know, sort of loud and quiet. You could tell all the subtleties of it. Just really enjoying that. Downside, just a little bit too analytical, yeah, just not kind of feeding my soul. You know, I've listened to, you know, so much hi-fi, yeah, and what I found in the end is, one way I was kind of judging everything, right, is I kind of feel it in my belly, you know, if something's not quite, it's not quite there, or it's reluctant, it's not giving me what I want, I just get a feeling there, you know. Anyway, that's instincts or whatever, I don't know. But so on Too High, here's a technical point. Stevie Wonder's voice, I put here Stevie Wonder's voice was not the star. His voice is a little bit back, yeah? The vocals, this NAIM is just putting those vocals a little bit back. I don't know, maybe attracting my attention to the instrumentation more, and it's just kind of not, I know, I just wish that vocal was a bit, you know, a few feet more into the room, do you know what I mean? And the quad puts that in the room, by the way, or the voice, it puts it more forward. What else did we do? Okay, I did Living for the City, which is another Stevie Wonder. Both of these songs are on Inner Visions, by the way. You know, it's accurate, it's good. I put here, it's kind of disappointing, you know, and not enough dynamics. Made me think, oh, this Linn and this NAIM are not really great partners. But in the middle, there's this, if you know this song, there's this scene where basically a bloke goes to, it's done in 20 seconds. Bloke goes to New York, someone tries to sell him some dope, he gets arrested, he goes to court, he gets put in jail, right? All this is done in 20 seconds. And it's done like on the streets of New York, and you've got these sounds of lorries and motorbikes, and it's like, you know, it's a good thing for separation to listen to. And it did it fantastically. You know, oh God, there goes a lorry going over there. You know, very accurate, you know, very, very accurate. You won't get that happening on this 1972 Sansui receiver. You'll enjoy it, but you won't get that real pinpoint thing. That's sort of a good way to talk about this NAIM. Kind of pinpoint, kind of detailed and small in a way. So that's Living for the City. I also did Ricky, Don't Lose This Number, Steely Dan. Now, I just want to say, in the old days when I used to listen to go around hi-fi shops, they would always play Steely Dan, Haitian Divorce, stuff like that. It always sounds great. Steely Dan always sounds fantastic. So if you go around someone's house to buy a stereo and they're going, oh, I'm going to play Steely Dan, right? Well, I would say, no, don't do that, because everything sounds good. Steely Dan makes rubbish stereos sound good. Anyway, I did Ricky, Don't Lose This Number, because I did. Again, on the NAIM, vocals slightly back, just slightly back, but the bass and the bass drum, there's a thing, Ricky, Don't Lose This Number, there's a doo-doo on like two toms, and that sounded just really clear and accurate, you know, better than it does on that quad. Sounds a bit thuddy on the quad. So, you know, in a way, this NAIM, you know, it's a class act. These are both class acts, by the way. The thing that struck me with this NAIM is I'm thinking, if you had the best front end in the goddamn world, and it has to be very, very good, this is really sort of superior, but it kind of doesn't give me what I want. Okay, let me talk about the quad now. So, okay, same songs again. So we've got Clever Trevor, Enduring the Blockheads. Did I say that? The voice is more forwards. Yeah, the voice is like, it's just literally like the voice has moved a yard more into the room, and I'm getting hold of that voice. it's kind of more correct, if you ask me, where they've, you know, how it's doing that. And I put here, it's more fun, and I've got no sense of sort of wanting the details. Or sort of like, did I hear that right? Is that there? It's just delivering it all, you know. It's just, it's bigger sound. I mean, I know it's twice the watts, but I'm not playing these things loud, by the way. And if you do want to go loud, I'd say this quad would be absolute a king amp for really loud volumes. You know what I mean? That you want to play all day. You know, that's kind of what it's made for, I would say. So, Too High, let's do that song. Too High, Stevie Wonder. Bigger sound, just a bigger-ish sound, and more bottom end. You're getting more bottom end off of this quad. I mean, I guess you should do, because it's twice the power. But, you know, I've got some amps that would get the bottom end that aren't that powerful. But I don't want to say this NAIM is bass light, but it's a tiny bit bass. It's certainly not big in the bass, let's say that. But it's clean. It's super clean. So, yeah, Too High on the quad. Bigger sound, more low bass info, not as delicate as the NAIM, not quite as refined, yeah? But I'm preferring the quad because it's giving me the vocals right. It's kind of, it's got more grip, yeah? And it's not giving me, my belly's fine. I'm happy. I'm just happier with that quad, you know? It's just bigger and bolder, and it's, you know, they're still both very detailed things, you know. Okay, Living for the City, again, the vocal was a little bit further forward. The NAIM was definitely a little bit more refined. And the street scene was still great, by the way. The scene with the lorries and the kid that goes to New York, that was still done really good, you know. I don't want to start saying this quad is not detailed and accurate and it's not a good thing. They're both really good things. This NAIM is... Let me say this. One thing that struck me is that with this NAIM, it's like the sounds are all there, but it's almost like there's blackness between the sounds, yeah? It's like not a space between the sound that echoes, but nothing between the sounds. Yeah? It's the sort of thing that when you first hear it, you go, oh, this is really good. But when you live with it, it kind of just doesn't, you know, doesn't do it for me, you know? Okay, right, I'll try to sum this up. In a few words and phrases, and I'm just reading from my notes here really. Okay, this NAIM, it's highly civilized, it has a light touch, yeah, it has a delicacy about it. This quad has a bit more, you know, welly about it, so it has a light touch. It's a little bit too polite for me. And I put the bit about the silence between the sound. The quad, it's big, it's got a ton of grip. They're both absolute class, but for me this quad with that Linn, it's a nice combination, those two. That's quite a winner, you know, and I'll probably have these on for a long time because I'm really enjoying that. So that's about it. I hope that gives you the picture. Don't forget loads of other reviews on my channel if you're interested, of speakers and amps and tips of all sorts. And okay, that's it. Okay, like and subscribe. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Bye for now.